Yo, good freaking morning. It is July 31st, pre-market analysis. Um Yesterday, I want to go over something about yesterday because I want you guys not to just watch me and be like, "Oh, whatever." I want you guys to be able to learn from my mistakes. So, if you watched the pre-market analysis yesterday, I specifically said once we reached the draw that I ended up trading from, I didn't want to trade that until we reached all of the draws because there was obviously a line of liquidity that wanted to be reached. And I literally traded off that first draw because I thought I was stuck on the lower time frame. So today's lesson from pre-market from yesterday that I'm going to try to be more established with today is don't get stuck on the lower time frame. Make sure you zoom out, check the 1 hour, check the 4 hour, check the 30-minute before you take your entry, just to make sure that you're still in alignment with the higher time frame narrative. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. But let's get into it. We do have some pretty low 10 a.m. news. Not really worried about it that much, but wow. Okay. So we have this daily intermediate high on both of these symbols that are very much being delivered to. This is definitely, like, just by looking at the daily, I could very much expect this to be the main draw on liquidity for the day. Of course, we're going to have to line that up with the lower time frame. But we've been in a very bearish market, and the fact that we have retraced this much definitely tells me that there is a very strong reason to believe that this is the next draw on liquidity, especially on the daily time frame. Let's go to the 4 hour. Okay. So we have a few 4 hour gaps. Of course, we have the 4 hour LFVG. I mean, I'll mark it out, but I'd be very surprised if we reach that today. But what the frick? $HLFVG. All right. 4 hour LFVG. And then we have these two gaps here. I could definitely see these hold just because of the fact that we are generating literal, like, oh my gosh, this is such a good draw. Yeah, so this daily internal high is a very good draw in of itself, but the fact that we're generating high time frame liquidity under it makes it even better. I'm going to mark out both of these gaps just so I can have an idea. If we start reaching this and not seeing immediate reaction, I'm probably going to wait for this second gap, even if we even reach these levels. We may not even need to reach them or want to reach them. All right, on EOS over here, we only have two. We have this first one and then the 4 hour LFVG below. Man, I would love to see this LFVG here, but I don't know if that's realistic. Cool. This high right here is technically a 4 hour intermediate high, but it's technically not also in my standard. A 4 hour intermediate high, just because we came into this gap and created a structural high, which is a 2 candlestick pattern, a bullish and a bearish candle, this would technically be the high. I don't want to count that because there's no real displacement. There's nothing that's showing that this fair value gap is holding us lower at this point. So because of that, I don't want to just mark out every low, high, and low. I want to find actual highs and lows and points in the market where I'm seeing money engaging with price. That's how you get really, really good levels. Don't just mark out everything. Wait for legitimate levels to be reached. Or not legitimate levels to be reached, but legitimate levels to be created. So we have the daily, and then right above it, we have this 4 hour gap that is very much... this 4 hour gap is holding a lot of liquidity. We've seen a lot of taps getting pretty close to it. One of them now being this daily internal high. Very good gap. All right, let's go to the 2 hour. Probably not going to see anything here, but just want to check. Yeah, nothing to worry about. Go to the hourly. Ooh. So we have a 1 hour bearish gap right here. Not something to trip us up about, but definitely could be creating a different bias off of that depending on how we move when we reach it. If we reach it, all those types of things. We just swept out this 1 hour intermediate low here, and we're seeing a pretty good reaction off that. Okay, so these things right here are things to be very, very, very watchful for. Just because we have a daily internal high does not mean we should disregard everything below that now. This is a very strong high, extremely strong high. We tap this unmitigated gap and look what we get in return out of that gap. Even if this is backed by news, war news or whatever, still a lot of the money came in at this level, at this high, once we filled this fair value gap. This imbalance gave these sellers a massive opportunity and they capitalized on it for sure. So this high is very strong, almost as strong as the daily internal high in my opinion. So I'm going to be keeping my eye on that for sure. Yeah, this 1 hour gap. We'll have to honestly just watch for it. Of course, there's going to be some scenarios today where that may make us not trade for a bullish run, depending on how we interacted with it, or like I said, if we've interacted with it at all. 30-minute, not really worried about it. We have this hourly gap here. That's kind of covering that zone there. I'm just looking for anything else here. I'm good. Yeah. We have no sponsorship right now. The only technical sponsorship we have is this 1 hour intermediate low sweep. It technically is sponsorship, but I just don't know if it's enough for me to want to take a conditions level trade on open. So a lot of my strategy sometimes, depending on how the market's moving, is if we have recent sponsorship from a high time frame level, which could be this 1 hour intermediate low, then I would be open to considering a trade at open from a 5 or 15-minute level, which in this case would be this 15-minute most likely. Because we already have this sponsorship, that means this 15-minute gap would be sponsored by the hourly sweep, and we could see a quick reversal from there, or continuation technically. So that is something that I would possibly look for. I would just really have to be careful about where we are at engaging with this 1 hour fair value gap, because as soon as we reach new sponsorship, a new high time frame level, that plan is completely out the window. That is not backed by one bullish move that is sending market higher anymore. We have reached a level where the money could be released, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm gonna just mark this out, just as reference for the sweep. I just put S for sweep. Just to keep an eye on it, because if we do see it continuing to hold pressure like this, then this could definitely be sponsorship that would be willing to take a conditions level trade off of. But we will see. So yeah, first and the most initial bias for the day would be this does hold, sponsorship does hold, and we're able to trade higher from here. We have very good draws to the upside. Second scenario would be a market at market open, we dump, and I would just patiently wait for the 4 hours to get interacted with, and to wait for a real structure and a real entry to present itself. I do not need to wait for all these 4 hours to get hit. If one of them gets hit and we see good reactions, that'll be good enough for me. Third and last scenario for the day. If we just rip up in market open, no entry, and we reach all these draws, this is kind of the same thing as yesterday. I'm going to be very careful taking a reversal trade off this first draw without all of them being reached, because these are all going to be very achievable once the first one is reached. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm gonna be looking at. Stay safe trading, and I will catch you guys in the trade recap. Peace out.